Welcome to the 2300 Pick 6 football site and podcast for news, scores, bets, fantasy, and chat. It will hit you like a QB getting sacked. Welcome to the 2300 Pick 6 podcast. I'm your host, Dave Walker, about to do the final edition of schedule analysis of the final four teams, division winners, and my playoff picture and my Super Bowl prediction. So starting it off, we're going to start with the Chicago Bears schedule right now. Their schedule I'm pulling up right now, I have right now. The first game of the season they play is against Tennessee Titans, so I will take the Bears in this one. The Bears will win at home. Caleb Williams gets his first win. As for the Bears, they did get Caleb Williams in the draft. Still have DJ Moore in the defense. So we'll see how it goes for the Bears. So I'm going to say they go 1-0. Next game they play against is the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. Game of a waste. I would not have put the Bears on Sunday Night Football. Yes, I know this would be Caleb Williams' first game on primetime, but I will take the Houston Texans on this one. Houston will kill them on Sunday night, so they will be 1-1. Next game is against the Indianapolis Colts. They're going to lose in Indianapolis because it's not easy to win in Indianapolis. I could see Anthony Richardson having a good game going to Moss and Zach Taylor, and I could see them bouncing back. Now, I don't know how Anthony Richardson's going to do. He's coming back from his injury. I do see the Colts having a good season, but I don't know about making playoffs just yet. So I will take the Colts in that one. They will be 1-2. Now we have is the Bears and the Rams. They're going to lose that game against the Rams on that one. The Rams are going to demolish them with Stafford, going to Royce Freeman, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp. I can see Aaron Donald getting a little bit to Caleb Williams, so that's going to be a loss for them. They're going to lose to the Rams. Panthers, Bears. I will take the Bears in this one. I said previously about Carolina that they're going to be the first team that goes 0-17. I will take the Bears on this one. They're at home. The Bears will win that one, probably close. This is a game that probably won't be as good. I could see this game being more like a Carolina Hurricanes, Chicago Blackhawks game with the Bears winning. Then you have the London game with the Jaguars and the Bears. I will take the Jacksonville Jaguars because the Jaguars have done good overseas. It's hard to beat them overseas at times. So I will take the Jacksonville Jaguars on this one. I think the Jags would kill the Bears. Trevor Lawrence going to ETN, him going to Calvin Ridley if he's still there, and that defense getting to Caleb Mufoye-Oluokun. Bears Commanders, that one you coming back. I say the Commanders will take the win here. This one might not be as good as the game too, so this one could turn into a Washington Capitals, Chicago Blackhawks game, or a Cubs and a Nationals game. So I will take the Commanders in that one. They have a loss there. Bears Cardinals, I will take the Cardinals in this one. I can see Kyler having a good game, him going to his receivers and the running backs. So I take the Arizona Cardinals with that one. Patriots Bears, I will take the Bears in this one. Bears should get a win at home over the New England Patriots. They'll get a win here. This one will be someone out of a good game. I can see this being probably a Cubs and a Red Sox game. I wouldn't say the White Sox. I don't see it happening that way. Or it could be a Blackhawks or a Boston Bruins. Next one we have is the Packers and the Bears. I can see Green Bay sweeping the Bears. Green Bay gets the win here with Jordan Love winning, torching that Chicago defense. Bears Vikings. This one will be a split. I see the Bears getting a win at home over Minnesota. Probably close. This one probably might be like a Blackhawks Wild game or a Cubs and the Twins game. Next one we have is the Bears and the Lions on Thanksgiving. I say this is the one where the Lions finally break the streak on Thanksgiving. They finally get the win here. The Lions win on this one on Thanksgiving. They get a win. Bears 49ers. The 49ers are going to destroy them. That's going to be a loss for them. There's no way they're going to contend with the 49ers. Bears Vikings. This one will be a split and on Monday Night Football. I see the Vikings getting the win here. This one not being that good of a game. So we'll take the Vikings on that one. Next one. Oh, yeah, by the way, sponsored by Mountain Dew Watermelon. Very good flavor. Next one we have is Bears Lions. Lions and Bears have been screwy at times. This one's going to be a split. I see Detroit losing in some screwy fashion here, but I see the Bears winning this one, so I will take the Bears on that one. Seahawks Bears on Thursday Night Football. This one might not be a good of a game for the finale of Thursday Night Football. I will take the Seahawks on this one. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll take the Seahawks. Seahawks actually do have more talent because they have DK Metcalf, Smith and Jigba, Noah Fant, and they do have a defense. So I'm going to take the Seahawks on that one. And then the final game of the season, which is Bears-Packers. Packers get the win here because they will be fighting for that one seed. So the Bears will not get a win here. So a breakdown of the Bears record right now. They're going to be 1-0 against the Titans, 1-1 against the Texans, 1-2 against the Colts, 1-3 against the Rams, 1-4, actually 2-3. I said they would lose to the Texans, Bears, and Texans, Rams, and Colts. So you're 1-3. So they're going to be 2-3. Loss against the Jaguars, you're going to be 2-4. Loss against the Commanders, 2-5. Loss against the Cardinals, 2-6. 3-6 against the Patriots. 3-7 against the Packers. 4-7 against the Vikings. 4-8 against the Lions. 4-9 against San Francisco. 4-10 against the Vikings. looking for 5-10 against the Lions, because this is the one where they'll win in Chicago. 5-11 against the Seahawks. 5-12. So they're going to go 5-12. So not that bad, even though you're in a rebuild. They'll go 5-12. Next one is the Buffalo Bills. With this is going to be, we're going to prove a point. Was Josh Allen good because of Stephon Diggs, or was he really ass before Stephon Diggs got there? So we're going to prove this old adage. So we're going to pull up their schedule right now. For the Bills, their first game is against the Arizona Cardinals in Buffalo. The Bills will get the win there. I can see Josh Allen going and knock him going to his running back and the defense getting a collar. So the Bills will get that one. They're going to be 1-0. Next one's on Thursday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins in Miami. I see Miami getting the win here. I can see Tua going to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mostert, and a Kane. So that one will be a win. Probably a little close, but I see the Dolphins winning it. Jaguars, Bills. This one on a Monday Night Football. I'm going to say Jacksonville gets the win here on Monday Night Football. Jacksonville is going to get a good win here. Probably a little bit close, but I see Jacksonville getting a win here. Bills, Ravens, and Baltimore on a Sunday night. I see Baltimore getting a win here. Baltimore destroys them. I wouldn't say destroys Buffalo, but I think they get maybe at least, this would be a 2-score win, but I say Baltimore winning that one. Houston and Buffalo in Houston. Now, I can see Houston win this one. I can see Diggs torching his old team. So I see another 2-score win. This will be by the Texans getting a 2-score win here. Then a Monday night game against the Jets. I say the Jets win on this one. I can see Aaron Rodgers having a good game. September, Aaron Rodgers does not have the best game, but in October, he starts really cooking. But I see the Jets getting the win here, and this will be a revenge game for him. This is when he tore his Achilles heel against them week 1, but I see the Jets winning this one with Rodgers getting the win here. Titans, Bills. I see the Bills bouncing back after they're right now on a 5-game losing streak. They come back and get a win over Tennessee. They get the win there. Bills, Seahawks. It is not easy to win in Seattle. Now, if they had Diggs, I would have took the Bills in this one, but unfortunately, they don't anymore. I'm going to take Seattle with a win here. I say Seattle wins very, very close by a field goal. Seattle gets the win. Dolphins, Bills. I see the Dolphins getting the win here. They get the sweep this year over Buffalo. The Dolphins get the win here. This one probably by maybe a little bit. This one could go to an OT. Could be decided by a field goal or a last-minute touchdown, probably by either Waddle or Tyreek Hill. Bills, Colts. This is a tough one. Again, if you had Diggs, I would have took the Colts, and I would have took Buffalo. Then Indianapolis, I see Indy winning this one very, very close with Richardson. They get the win very close, so they will win. They're going to win. The Colts are going to win that one. We have Chiefs, Bills. Chiefs are going to win that one. Mahomes is going to have a good game, and I can see them getting revenge from having to rectify last year's loss with that bullshit call with the offsides off last year. 49ers, Bills on Sunday Night Football. I'm going to take the 49ers on this one. I see Purdy having a good game going to Debo and Kittle. Barring if Brandon Ayuk is still there, I don't know what's going to happen with his situation, but I can see the 49ers getting a win here. Bills, Rams. Rams get a win here. They get that with that in L.A. Defense getting to Josh Allen. I can see Stafford having a good game going to Nakua, Cooper Kupp, and Royce Freeman. Bills, Lions. I'm going to take Detroit in this one at home in Detroit. Detroit gets a win here with Goff going to Laporta, Gibb, and David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra St. Brown having a monster game in this one. I can see the defense of Anceloni and Hutchinson getting to Josh Allen on that one. Jets, Bills. This one I'm going to say is going to be a split. I can see Buffalo getting a win here in some odd fashion, in some screwjob fashion. Not a screwjob fashion. Oh, I missed one. I'm sorry. Bills, Patriots. Bills get a win over the Patriots. They get a win over the Patriots. They bounce back off a losing streak. They're going to get a win there. Jets, Bills. That one I say a win because those two normally split. And in Buffalo, I think Buffalo is going to get a win here. They're going to split. And then the last one is Bills, Patriots. Bills get a win here. Now, I don't know if it's going to be enough to get them in the playoffs. So I'm going to break down their record right now. So they're going to be 1-0 against the Cards. They're going to be 1-1 against the Dolphins. 1-2 against the Jaguars. 1-3 against the Ravens. 1-4 against Houston. 1-5 against the Jets. 2-5 against the Titans. 2-6 against the Seahawks. 2-7 against the Dolphins. 2-8 against Indianapolis. 2-9 against Kansas City. 2-10 against the 49ers. 2-11 against the Rams. 2-12 against Detroit. 3-12 against the Patriots. 4-12 against the Jets. And then 5-12. So I see the Bills going 5-12, but we're going to prove a point. Now, if the Bills make playoffs without Stephon Diggs and then Josh Allen was not asked, I'll hit this button.
Where D-Rock was wrong.
I'll prove that I was wrong when that occurred. But if not, and they don't make playoffs, and it was Stephon Diggs, I will be so hardly hitting this button.
Where D-Rock was right.
We'll see what occurs. Next on the list in the teams is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to pull up their schedule. Okay, so for the Buccaneers, they made the playoffs. I really didn't think that they would last year not because of Baker. But the one thing I'm going to say is, can Baker stay consistent? When he was with Cleveland, after they lost in the division to the Chiefs, the consistency stopped. My one issue with Baker Mayfield is, can he stay consistent? That's what I give them. Can he do that? But we're going to break down their schedule right now. Their first game is against the Washington Commanders. Tampa Bay gets the win here. I can see Baker going to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, them getting a win there. So they're going to be 1-0. Against Detroit on Sunday, that will be a loss in Detroit. So that one's going to be a little bit close, but I see Detroit getting a win here. So they're going to be 1-1. Denver at home, they bounce back from that loss to Detroit. They're going to be 2-1. They get a win there. Against Philadelphia, I'm going to say loss even though it's in Tampa, but I see Philadelphia getting revenge from last year in the wild card, which they shouldn't have lost. You know, Philadelphia did have a big collapse, but I do see this as a loss. I see the Philadelphia Eagles getting a win here, either close by a field goal, by 2 scores, maybe in overtime, or maybe by a last-minute touchdown to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. But I see Philadelphia getting a win here. Next one is Buccaneers-Falcons. This one I'm going to say Tampa gets the win here because we all know how Kirk Cousins is on prime time. So that will be a win by Tampa on this one. But Tampa's going to get a win here. Buccaneers-Saints, that will be a loss. I say the Saints and the Bucs are going to split. In New Orleans, not easy to win in the Dome, but New Orleans gets the win here close, either by a last-minute touchdown, overtime, or a field goal. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints in this one. Ravens, Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. I'm going to take Baltimore on this one. Baltimore gets the win here. I'm not going to say Tampa's going to get killed by Baltimore, but I think Baltimore wins in probably two-score game. I have Baltimore winning that one. Falcons, Buccaneers. Buccaneers get a sweep here. At home, they bounce back from that loss. I see Tampa Bay getting a win here at home. They bounce back from that. Buccaneers, Chiefs on Monday Night Football. In that one, I see my homeboy getting a win here. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go against Mahomes on this one. Monday night, it's not easy to win down in Arrowhead. I give the Chiefs the victory here. 49ers, Buccaneers. I'm going to say 49ers get the win here with Purdy going to Deebo Samuel, Quiddle, and Christian McCaffrey. He gets the win there. Next one is Buccaneers, Giants. Tampa Bay bounces back from that ugly loss to the 49ers. They get the win over the New York Giants. Buccaneers, Panthers. I said again, Panthers are going to be the first team that goes 0-17. Tampa's going to sweep them, get a win here with, I could see Baker having a career monster day with Mike Evans. Next one is Raiders, Bucks. If that game was in Vegas, I would take Tampa. I would have took the Las Vegas Raiders on this one, but in Tampa, I will take Tampa winning this one, but this could be down the road a sleeper good game. So I'm going to say Tampa gets the win very, very close, probably in an overtime or by a late-minute field goal or a game-winning touchdown by either Godwin or Evans. Buccaneers, Chargers. That one, I'm going to say the LA Chargers get the win here. With this one, I'm hate to say Bucks are not going to win. I see the Chargers probably winning. This one could go to maybe a last-minute field goal or maybe a last-minute touchdown. I don't see an overtime, but in some way, the Chargers went down. Buccaneers, Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. I see Dallas winning that one. Tampa Bay does not. Sometimes Tampa did feel well against it, but that was with Brady. But until Brady retired, and then where Dallas put him to the booth. But I see Dallas winning that one on Sunday Night Football. Not no overtime or a close game. I see Dallas winning probably by like 10 points or maybe like 13 or 14 points. I see the Cowboys winning now. Panthers, Buccaneers. Tampa Bay bounces back from that loss to the Cowboys. As I said before, Carolina's going to be the first team that goes 0-17. Tampa wins that one and destroys them. And then the last is Saints, Bucs. Now this game right here could determine the NFC South. Now this game could be your Sunday nighter, maybe your 4 o'clock game. But this is how I see that game going between those two. But I have Tampa Bay winning this one. Now, I don't know if they're going to win the division because it's going to be, when we get to the playoff picture, I'll make my division pick on that. But I think Tampa Bay wins this one at home. But a breakdown of Tampa's record is they're going to be 1-0 against the Commanders. They're going to be 1-1 against Detroit, 2-1 against Denver, 2-2 against Philly, 3-2 against Atlanta, 3-3 against New Orleans, 3-4 against Baltimore, 4-4 against Atlanta, 4-5 against Kansas City, 4-6 against the 49ers, 5-6 against the Giants, 6-6 against against Carolina, 7-6 against the Raiders, 7-7 against the Chargers, 7-8 against the Cowboys, 8-8 against Carolina, and 9-8 against the Saints. Now, will it be enough to get them in? Now, I'm not going to say, like as I said last year, I thought the NFC South was going to be below 500 with everybody. This one, I don't see it being below 500. If there's going to be one team that will be below 500, will be the Panthers. I said they were winless. Now, maybe for the rest, I can see Atlanta maybe like 9-8 or something like that, but I don't know. We'll wait till we cross that bridge when we get to the playoff. And our final team in the schedule analysis is the Tennessee Titans. I'm pulling up their schedule right now. All right, so their Titans schedule is they no longer have Ryan Tannehill. Will Levis is the quarterback. D-Hop is still there. Derrick Henry now went to the Ravens. They have Tony Pollard as their running back, and I'll tell you this right now, Titans. He'll give you that burst for a while, but then after that, you better watch out. That burst might not be there as much. So we'll wait and see. But pulling up their schedule right now, their first game is against the Chicago Bears. And Chicago, that will be a loss. I can see might not be that good of a game. It might be a little low scoring now. Tennessee does not have a baseball team. They don't have a hockey, but this could turn to some little minor league. So I'm going to say the Bears get the win here. Titans, Jets, that is going to be a loss. Even though Aaron Rodgers does not fare well in September at times, but Aaron Rodgers should fare against the Tennessee Titans. Sorry to know if you happen to watch it, I apologize. Nothing against you, but I just don't think Titans are going to win that game. I apologize. Next is Packers, Titans. Packers get a win here. I can see Jordan Love torching the Titans. I can see him having a career good game on this one. Titans, Dolphins, that's going to be a loss. I see the Dolphins getting revenge from last year after getting embarrassed on Monday Night Football at home. They get their revenge from last year and literally destroy the Titans after when they got embarrassed and humiliated. Now, even though Tyreek Hill did get injured and he was only playing on one leg, that did affect it mostly for them. But I do have the Dolphins winning that game. Colts, Titans. I'm going to go the Colts on this one. The Colts get a win here with Anthony Richardson. Now, with division battles, they could be a little close and a little bit tricky. So I say this one's going to be a little bit close. I know last year they did go to overtime. That was with Gardner Minshew. But I do take the Colts in this one. I could see Moss and Taylor having a good game. Titans, Bills. That's going to be a loss. I'm going to go to Bills on that one. Even without Stephon Diggs, I can see Josh Allen having a good game against Titans. So that one's going to be a win by the Bills. So Titans, Lions. Detroit will smoke them. I hate to say it. Detroit's going to smoke them. And I can see Gibbs, Montgomery having a good game. Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I can see that defense, Anceloni Hutchinson getting 11. Patriots, Titans. This will be the first win for the Titans. They beat the New England Patriots. Not that good of a game. I say very, very low at this. So I'm going to take the Titans on that one. Titans, Chargers. I'm going to go the Chargers. Harbaugh, the Chargers should be very, very good at this point. I can see Herbert having a good game. So I'm going to take the Chargers on this one. Vikings, Titans. I'm going to take the Titans on this one. Minnesota does not fare well away from the Dome. So I will take the Titans on this one. Very, very close with this one. They get a win here. Titans, Texans. I'm going to take the Houston Texans. Stroud's going to have a monster game going to Nico Collins. Dalton, the defense, getting 11. Titans, Commanders. Not that good of a game, but I will take the Commanders on this one. They will get the win there for that one. Jaguars, Titans. I take Jacksonville on this one. Jacksonville should get a win here with Trevor Lawrence going to ETN, Christian Kirk, and Boya Luakon getting 11. On that one, Bengals, Titans. Regardless of Joe Burrow, and I'm not wishing this on any player, and I say this right now, I do not wish any player gets injured regardless of the team. I don't like all 31 teams. To quote Simon Says, I owe you a royalty for that because that's your line. I owe you a royalty, quote you, because you've always said that. I don't really care, but I do not wish an injury upon anybody, but I'm hoping that Joe Burrow is healthy at this time. Regardless or not, I'm going to take the Bengals on this one. The Bengals will smoke the Titans with Burrow going to Jamar Chase, Mixon, and T. Higgins, and I could see that one, and Tyler Boyd. I see the Bengals getting a win here. Titans, Colts. Colts get the sweep here. Colts get the win at home with Anthony Richardson company. Titans, Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence and company get the sweep here. They get a win. And then Texans, Titans. Texans get a win because it technically could be either trying to get a 2, a 1, or probably get their division locked up with that 3 seed. But a breakdown of the Titans record right now. They're going to be 0-1 against the Bears, 0-2 against the Jets, 0-3 against Green Bay, 0-4 against the Dolphins, 0-5 against the Colts, 0-6 against the Bills, 0-7 against Detroit, 1-7 against New England, 1-8 against the Chargers, 2-8 against the Vikings, 2-9 against the Texans, 2-10 against the Commanders, 2-11 against the Jaguars, 2-12 against the Bengals, 2-13 against the Colts, 2-14 against Jacksonville, and 2-15 against the Texans. So I had the Titans going 2-15 in their rebuild. Now, the schedule analysis is all done, and I'm going to give my division winners by division by East. The NFC East. It's a toss-up between Philadelphia and Dallas. Yes, Dallas did win it last year. And I'm going to refer to this as to my friend Wolf has stated, quote you, Wolf, whenever I get you on, if you're watching, I'll send you this episode, was the curse of Donovan McNabb, meaning there's been no back-to-back winner since the Eagles with 04. Since then, this division has been competitive and has flip-flopped a lot. And I can give you 05 has been the Giants, 06 it was Philadelphia, 07 Dallas, 08 Philadelphia, 09 Dallas, 10 Philadelphia, 11 New York, 12 Washington, 13 Philly, 14 Dallas, 15 Washington, 16 Dallas, 17 was Philadelphia, 18 Dallas, 19 was Philadelphia, 2020 the COVID season was Washington. That was the only time you were good, and you thought you were going to beat Tom Brady. You almost did beat him, but unfortunately Brady got the win there. 2021 Dallas, 2022 Philadelphia, and then last year Dallas. Does this curse get broken? And a lot of Cowboy fans, you can call me a fake fan or whatever. I have no faith in my team. Unfortunately, I don't see this curse getting broken. I think Philadelphia will win that division, unfortunately, because I know when it gets to that final game between Dallas and Philadelphia, nothing against the Cowboys, but I do not trust Dak Prescott in games like this, and I have a bad feeling he will fuck this up, and this will be the start of either him and McCarthy both out of here. Now, if some miracle occurs, Dak pulls this off, I will apologize, and I will hit this button here and prove that I was wrong.
Where D-Rock was wrong.
And which I'm hoping the Cowboys can make an ass out of me yet again, because they have once before in 14 when I thought the Cowboys would lose to the Seahawks in Seattle, and then the Cowboys won. It made me look like an ass. But in this one, unfortunately, I think Philadelphia might win it. But in the playoff picture, I do have them winning the division, but certain scenarios, which I'm going to give after this pretty soon. Next is the NFC North. Another toss-up could be between either the Green Bay Packers or the Detroit Lions. Last year, I slept on the Green Bay Packers, and look what it got me with the Cowboys when they killed my Cowboys in the wild card. And I don't want to keep bringing that up. These two are going to be competitive. They're both going to split. But out of this, who's more hungrier? I would say Detroit is more hungrier, because after losing in the NFC Championship, had they not got overly aggressive with the 49ers, I believe they would have beat the 49ers, not getting overly aggressive. And I do believe that. I think they could have beat the Chiefs and would have got their first Super Bowl. So unfortunately for that, I'm going to say Detroit gets it. Now, Green Bay would not shock me. But when we get to scenarios, I'll talk about that. But for this podcast and right now, I will say the Detroit Lions. Now we go to the NFC West. That will be the 49ers. I don't see the Rams winning it, even though, I'm not going to count them. They're going to be a lot better. I don't think they're going to be as bad. I don't think they're at the point. They're going to compete with San Fran. I think they might split, but I don't think they're going to go to the point of competing that much with San Francisco. And this is regardless if Brandon Ayuk is gone. I still think the Niners will win now. Next we have is the NFC South. I really thought it was going to be the Saints last year, and I got that wrong. It was Tampa. Now, the one thing I'll give Tampa, the one thing is you have to worry about is, can Baker stay consistent? Last time he did not. If he can stay consistent, I give the nod to Tampa. But here's another thing. New Orleans is good at times, but the one thing New Orleans has, the one thing is a poor excuse for a coach in Derek Allen. I don't think he is the best coach ever. He literally almost did ruin Derek Carr. But in this one right here, I will say Tampa in this one right here. I think Tampa does get the division. I think if New Orleans does not make the playoffs or gets one and done or whatever, I think he will be getting fired. I do think Derek Allen is on my hot list on coach. He could get fired. Now we go to the AFC division. Okay, so we're going to go to the AFC East. In this right here, Buffalo no longer has it anymore. I don't think they are going to win the division, like I said, because of this whole Diggs thing. We're going to prove a point. Was it Stephon Diggs, or was he really ass without him? Which he was. Because Josh Allen only made one playoff without Stephon Diggs. He lost to Jacksonville in 2000 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And that one, I don't see the Bills making the playoffs this year and winning that division. This one is a toss-up between Miami and the New York Jets. I will go with Miami in this one, because here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is recovering from an ACL injury. Those injuries are not the best, and they take a lot of time to recover. Unless you are Adrian Peterson, when he became the leading rusher, won the rushing title. Now, I don't know who he saw for a doctor to really get his ACL and come back from one of the most gruesome injury ever. Now, there's a difference, because Adrian Peterson was at a younger age. Aaron Rodgers is getting a little older. But in this instance, I will take the Dolphins with this one. I do see the Dolphins winning the division, not the Jets. I can see the Jets possibly getting in the playoff. Maybe. But I'm going to say, for this instance, I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins get the division. Next one is the AFC North. You have two toss-up between Baltimore and the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, when they got hurt and gone down, I don't think Baltimore would have won. No offense. But can Burrow stay healthy? There's a possibility they could win that division. But as in this one, I'm going to take the Ravens in this one, because Baltimore came very close to beating the Chiefs. I understand I like all the play calling they're doing. Getting aggressive because you're dealing with Patrick Mahomes. You want to keep that man on the sideline. They were doing everything in their power to win. They didn't get overly aggressive, but I understand what they're trying to do. I know that Baltimore's pissed, and they're looking for revenge, and they're a lot hungrier. So I'm going to take the Ravens for that one, for the division, for the AFC North. For the AFC South, I did not expect Houston to win that division. Houston went from worst to first, and then made it to the divisional, but then got eliminated by Baltimore. Jacksonville would have won it had Trevor Lawrence had not gone down. But in this instant, I'm not going to sleep on the Texans this year. I would not. How everybody want to say, hey, this is my dark horse sleeping. I could do a lot of damage in the playoffs and possibly could go to their very first Super Bowl. So I'm going to say the Houston Texans on this one. And last but not least is the AFC, is the AFC West. Now, this is a toss-up between either the Chiefs or the Chargers. Harbaugh did his best wonders when he did the San Francisco 49ers. He turned them around in his first year. He got them the division. They got a bye. They beat the New Orleans Saints in a divisional. But they would have won the NFC Championship had Ted Ginn Jr. not muffed that punt against the Giants. He does not muff that punt return. I do believe that the San Francisco 49ers probably would have beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl and would have got that Super Bowl. Now, for the Chiefs, it is Mahomes still. Now, this one is a little bit tough here. But for this, I am going to go with the champs in this one. I see the Chiefs getting this division. There's a possibility they might not get the one again, but it's going to be a very, very close race between these two. I see both of these two splitting. Now, if the Chargers do win the division, then I'm going by the Harbaugh pattern, which is they may or may not get a bye. They probably would win in the first round against whomever. They'll probably win the divisional against whomever. And then the championship, it's going to be a little bit suspect who they're going to play. But in this instance, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm going to give my scenarios of the playoff picture, and here they are right now. For the first one I have is Detroit is a 1 seed. Your number 2 is the San Francisco 49ers. The third is the Dallas Cowboys. The fourth is either going to be the New Orleans Saints or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One of those two. Your 5th seed is going to be probably the Green Bay Packers. Your 6th seed is going to be the Rams. And the 7th is going to be the Eagles. And I'm going to explain, this is not me being a hater because I hate the Eagles and I'm a Cowboys fan and playing a Cowboy card. No. Because I think the Rams will beat the Eagles come the regular season. And then there's going to be a tiebreaker situation. Now, if a tiebreaker has to come into play, the Rams would own that tiebreaker. So that's why I say the Rams will be 6. But here's a breakdown of your matchup. So your 4 and 5 are going to be... Why that did that. So here's what's going to be. Your 4 and 5 is going to be the Packers going to Tampa Bay or New Orleans, which I can see Green Bay getting a win there. Green Bay would advance to a division. Next would be the Rams and the Cowboys. In Dallas, Matthew Stafford, ever since when he was with Detroit, he used to own us. Until that playoff loss, when he lost us when he was with Detroit, he has had his troubles against us now. And I see that coming back in full circle again with Dallas winning this one and going to a divisional. Next is Eagles 49ers. I see the 49ers getting a win on this one because last time when they played, I said last year in my podcast, I thought the Eagles were better than the 49ers. Fortunately, in this instance, with or without Ayuk, I see the 49ers winning this one. They get revenge for that NFC Championship. They get the win, and then they advance. So then you have your divisional. The Packers would go to Detroit, and I see Detroit winning this one. They go to an NFC Championship. This one would be decided in an overtime, maybe in a double overtime, because I can see this one being a competitive game. The next one is Cowboys 49ers. I've already seen this script, and I'm already preparing. Let's say, God forbid, this does occur. I'm already preparing for this divisional loss. I'm already preparing for the firing of Mike McCarthy and the release of Dak Prescott and possibly the start of the Trey Lance era for the Dallas Cowboys. So that's where we're going to be yet again. And then there's probably going to be a new head coach in the wings. Either, I don't know if they would get Bill Belichick or would it be Mike Zimmer, but that's how that goes. Then your NFC Championship would be San Francisco going to Detroit, but this time Super Bowl hangover kicks in on the Niners. The Lions win and they go to the Super Bowl in the first of the NFC matchup. Second scenario, I have the Packers as a 1 seed. I have the 49ers still as your 2. The Eagles as a 3. The Bucks and the Saints, one of them will be the 4. The 5, Dallas. 6, Detroit. And 7, the Rams. The reason I have Dallas as a 5 is because Dallas will beat Detroit, and it's going to end their undefeated streak. And if it has to come down to tiebreakers, Dallas holds that victory over them, they would get the 5 seed. Well, here are our matchups. Dallas would either have to go to Tampa or New Orleans. Detroit would have to go to Philadelphia, and the Rams would have to go to San Francisco. I can see Dallas beating either Tampa or New Orleans, going to a divisional. Lions, Eagles, I could see Lions beating Philadelphia. I don't think Philadelphia could contend with Detroit. I'm going to be honest with you on that. And then the last one, the 49ers beating the Rams. Now you go to your divisional matchup. Because Dallas is the 5, they would have to go to San Francisco. Detroit would have to go to Green Bay. I would see the Green Bay Packers winning that one in Lambeau. Not easy to win down there in the cold in January because it starts to snow down there, even though Detroit does face snow, but they play in a dome. I would take the Packers going to an NFC Championship. And again, it's Cowboys 49ers. And like I said, I'm not going to repeat myself. Same script. We all know what's going to happen. Here comes another divisional loss. Start of, what I just said in the first one. Mike Zimmer probably is the head coach. And then you have 49ers Packers as your NFC Championship in Lambeau, which I see the Packers winning. Very close in that one. That's the second scenario. Our third scenario is, so now we're going to change it up a little bit. Let's say the Niners don't win the West. The only way that could occur would be and I'm going to say this right now, I do not wish injury upon anybody, would be the only way. Purdy gets injured or if he's having struggles. So again, I do not wish injury upon anybody. This is just my 2 cents and my thoughts. So your 1 seed would be Detroit. Your 2 seed would be the Cowboys. Your 3rd seed would be the Rams. I think Dallas is way better than the LA Rams in my opinion. 4 would be Tampa Bay or New Orleans. 5 would be the Packers. 6 would be the 49ers. And 7 would be the Philadelphia Eagles. Now in this scenario, you would have the Eagles going to Dallas. You would have the 49ers going to LA. And then you would have the Packers going to either Tampa Bay or New Orleans. Now, your divisional matchup would be, I have the Cowboys winning. They were a 3. The 49ers, I said, was a 6 in this one. They would beat the LA Rams. They would be your low seed. And then the Packers beating either New Orleans or Tampa Bay. So the 49ers would go to Detroit. The Green Bay Packers would come to Dallas. Now, for this one, I have the Lions winning this one in Detroit. This time, they learn from their mistake of this one. They don't get overly aggressive as they did in the NFC Championship. They win that one. This one, you're going to be a little shocked how I say on this one. I see Dallas learning from their mistake from last year, not underestimating the Packers like they did last year. They get the win here, very close. Be it probably a Brandon Aubrey field goal, maybe a CeeDee Lamb touchdown. I do see CeeDee Lamb coming back. He will be with Dallas. I could see him suiting up week 1 against Cleveland. Or it could be a rushing touchdown by either Zeke, Deuce Vaughn, or Rico Dow, or a touchdown pass by Jake Ferguson or Brandon Cooks. Then your NFC Championship would be Dallas and Detroit. Both are hungry for Super Bowls, but I would say Dallas would get the win here because they're more hungry and they want to end this drought and this curse. So I would see Dallas going to a Super Bowl. That is my shock and awe one in that one. And now we have another scenario here. This time, we have the Eagles winning the division and the Rams at a 2. Your first seed is Detroit. Your second seed is the LA Rams. Your third seed is the Philadelphia Eagles. Your fourth seed is the Bucks or the Saints. Your fifth seed is Green Bay. Your sixth seed is the 49ers. And then your last seed is Dallas because the 49ers would own that tiebreaker over us because I think Dan Fran is going to beat us in the regular season. So here are your matchups. The Packers would play Tampa or New Orleans. The 49ers would play Philadelphia in Philly. And Dallas would have to go to LA. Now, in this one, I have the Packers beating the Bucks. They would be your 5 seed. They would either have to take on probably the Lions. I have your 6, the 49ers beating Philadelphia. And then I had Dallas beating the Rams in LA. Dallas would have to go to Detroit, and then you would have Packers 49 in San Francisco. This one, I have Dallas beating Detroit in this one, and I have the Packers beating the 49er, and I have the Packers beating the 49ers in Lambeau. Your NFC Championship could possibly be Ice Bowl 3, but unfortunately, I do see Dallas losing this one to them. Now, I don't know what happens here, how far it would go, but I have the Packers winning that one in Lambeau because we should have won Ice Bowl 2, has caught it, which he did. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that would be the Packers going to an NFC Championship and winning and going to the Super Bowl. Next scenario here for the NFC, I think this might be the final one, or let me check. No, not yet. We got a couple more. This next one we have is Packers is 1, Dallas is 2, the Rams at a 3, the Saints at a 4, Saints or the Bucks at a 4, the Lions at a 5, the 49ers at a 6, and the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles as a 7. So you would have Lions going up against the Saints or the Bucks, the 49ers going up against the Rams. The reason I have the Lions as a 5 because I think Detroit will beat the 49ers this time in Detroit. I see that one occur. And then you have the Eagles as a 7. So you would have that one. You'd have the 49ers going up against the Rams, and then the Eagles going to Dallas. 49ers would win in that instance against the Rams. Dallas would beat Philadelphia, and then the Lions would beat the Saints or the Bucks. And the Lions would play so you know this route here. So Philadelphia is eliminated. The Lions would go to Dallas, and the 49ers would go to Green Bay. I would say the 49ers would lose to Green Bay. The Lions lose to the Cowboys. And this one, you still have Cowboys, Packers. And that one, Packers win that scenario in Ice Bowl 3. Your next one, this is the final one of the NFC one. Your Packers are your 1. Your 2 is the Rams. Your 3 is Philadelphia. Your 4 is either the Saints or the Bucks. The 5 is the 49ers. The 6 is Dallas. 7 is Detroit. The reason being, as I said, I think Dallas will own that tiebreak. And here are the scenarios and the matchups. You'd have the 49ers against either the Saints or the Bucks. The Cowboys having to go to Philadelphia, and the Lions playing against the Rams. Now, in this instance, I'd have the Lions winning that one. They would be the low seed. They would have to go to the 1 automatically. I'd have Dallas beating Philadelphia. They're your 6, and then the 49ers beating the Saints or the Bucks. Now, then it would go back to Lions, Packers, and Green Bay with the Lions winning that one. Then it would be the Cowboys and the 49ers, with the Cowboys losing to the 49ers in the divisional. Technical difficulties here, folks. Okay, we're back. So then I would have the Cowboys losing to the 49ers, and as I stated, that would probably be the firing of Mike McCarthy. Ergo, Mike Zimmer becomes the coach. And with that one, then you'd have the 49ers, the Packers, and a NFC Championship with the Packers winning. Those are all the NFC scenarios. Now we're going to go to the AFC scenarios right now. Your first seed would be the Kansas City Chiefs. The second would be Baltimore. The third one would be the Houston Texans. Your fourth one would be either the Miami Dolphins or the New York Jets. The fifth, the LA Chargers. The sixth, the Bengals. And then your last one, the Jaguars. So your matchup would consist of this. The Chargers would go to Miami or New York. The Bengals would play Houston. And Jaguars would play Baltimore. So out of the matchups, I would go, the Chargers would get a win over Miami. The Bengals would lose to the Texans. And the Jaguars are going to lose to the Ravens. So the Chargers would go to the Chiefs. And then it would be Baltimore and Houston. So with that one, and then I said I would have the Chargers winning because I really don't see the Chiefs repeating. It is not easy to do. Neither dynasty has ever three-peated. I can go back on. San Francisco did not do it back in the 90s. The Dallas Cowboys did not do it in the 90s. The Patriots did not do it. I don't see the Chiefs doing it. So that would be the first time Mahomes gets one and done because of the bye. Then it would be Texans-Ravens. In Baltimore, I see Baltimore getting the win here. Like I said before, they're more hungrier. They want that Super Bowl after losing last year. And it would be the first time in an AFC Championship, Harbaugh Bowl. Baltimore gets the win there. They go to the Super Bowl. Your next one is, and this one is Chiefs as a 1, Bengals as a 2, Jaguars as a 3. The only way they would get that is if Trevor Lawrence stay healthy. 4, it would be either the Dolphins or the Jets. 5 would be the Chargers. 6 would be Baltimore. 7, Houston. Now, out of these scenarios, you would have the Chargers taking on the Dolphins or the Jets. The Ravens taking on the Jaguars. The Texans taking on the Bengals. Now, the Texans would get the win here because they're 7. They would automatically play the Chiefs. The Ravens would beat Jacksonville, and then the Chargers would win. So in that instance, the Ravens would play the Chargers in LA because I think the Chargers are going to beat Baltimore in that first meeting, and they have to go to LA. Texans Chiefs had the Chiefs winning that game. Ravens Chargers had the Chargers winning that one. With the Chargers winning and making a Super Bowl, their first one since 1994 when they got embarrassed by the Niners. Because I'm going to say before, I don't see the Chiefs three-peating. If it does occur, I'll hit this button.
Where D-Wop was wrong.
Next scenario. Ravens as the 1 seed. Chiefs as the 2 seed. 3rd seed, the Texans. 4th, Dolphins or Jets. 5th, the Chargers. 6th, the Bengals. 7, the Jaguars. So you would have for your meetings is this. You'd have the Chargers taking on the Dolphins or the Jets. You'd have the Bengals taking on the Texans. And the Jaguars taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I would see the Chiefs winning, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans beating the Bengals. And the Chargers beating the Dolphins. So in this one, you would have the Chargers going to Baltimore and the Texans going to the Chiefs. Fortunately, in this one, Baltimore gets the win on this one in Baltimore, and then the Texans would lose to the Chiefs. I love C.J. Stroud, but I don't think the Texans are on just at the level of the Chiefs just yet. And then you have your AFC Championship rematch from last year, Baltimore and Kansas City in Baltimore again. This time, Baltimore getting the win and going to the Super Bowl. Your next scenario would be Ravens as a 1, Texans as a 2, Chargers as a 3, the Dolphins as a 4 or 5, or Dolphins or Jets as a 4. Your 5 is the Bengals. The 6 is the Chiefs. The reason being because of the tiebreaker, because the Chiefs were going to lose. I think the Chiefs will lose to Cincinnati week 2, and then the Jaguars as your 7. Here are these scenarios. You'd have the Bengals taking on the Dolphins or the Jets, the Chiefs taking on the Chargers, the Jaguars versus the Texans. Okay, so in the first one, the Bengals will beat the Dolphins or the Jets. The Chiefs will be 1 and done in this scenario. This will be the first time Mahomes gets 1 and done, and I see the Chargers winning that. And then Jaguars, Texans, I have the Texans beating the Jaguars. Now, Jaguars, I don't see making that far this year in the playoffs. I think they probably will get 1 and done by Houston. So that's that one. Here are your matchups. You would have Bengals, Ravens, and then you would have Chargers, Texans. And in this one, you would have the Texans and the Ravens in an AFC Championship. I will go with the Ravens in this one. Ravens get this one, and then they go to a Super Bowl in this scenario. Okay, now we have another scenario, which is Ravens as a 1, Chargers as a 2. This is the only offset the Chargers win a division. I don't think the Chargers can get a bye. I think probably the Chargers might get is maybe a 2 or a 3. That's barring if Houston wins the division, they're going to be a 3. Jacksonville wins the division, they'll be a 2. I think LA is a lot better than Jacksonville, in my opinion. Jacksonville's a 3. The Dolphins is a 4 or a 5, where the Jets is a 4. Bengals 5, Chiefs 6, and the Texans is a 7. So your matchup would be the Bengals taking on the Dolphins or the Jets, the Chiefs taking on the Jaguars, and the Texans taking on the Chargers. Now, in this one, the Chiefs would win. They would be the low seed. They'd have to go to Baltimore. Texans and Chargers in LA. I think the Texans might get 1 and done. Due to Harbaugh and company, they would have to play the Chargers. Chargers would have to take on the Bengals. Then you'd have the Chiefs losing to Baltimore and in the AFC divisional, and then you have the Chargers beating the Bengals in the divisional. Your AFC Championship would be Chargers-Ravens. Harbaugh ball, first time in the AFC Championship. Ravens win. Ravens go to a Super Bowl. Next one is, let's say if the Bengals get the 1 seed, Joe Burrow can stay healthy. They got it. So you'd have the Bengals as the 1, Chiefs as your 2, the Texans as a 3, the Dolphins as a 4, or the Jets, 5 as the Chargers, 6 Baltimore, 7 Jacksonville. So you would have the Chargers taking on either the Dolphins or the Jets, the Ravens taking on the Texans in Houston, and the Jaguars taking on the Chiefs. Now, in this instance, I would take the Chargers again. So they would be your 5 seed. So that would be your low seed. They're going to have to go to Cincinnati. Now, if it's Ravens-Texans, I see Texans winning in Houston this time. Houston gets the win. They go to the divisional. They would have to take on the Chiefs. I can see the Jaguars getting killed by Kansas City. So then you'd have your divisional. Chargers taking on the Bengals, and the Chiefs and the Texans. And in this one, I see the Chargers beating the Bengals. They go to an AFC Championship, and then the Chiefs versus the Texans. Chiefs go to an AFC Championship, and then your AFC Championship matchup would be Chargers and the Chiefs, with the Chargers possibly with the Chargers winning. Like I said, it's not easy to three-peat. So that's when I think that Super Bowl curse is going to begin. Another scenario we have is Bengals as 1, Chiefs as a 2, Jaguars as a 3, Dolphins as a 4, or the Jets, 5 as the Chargers, 6 Baltimore, 7 Houston. And your matchup would consist of the Chargers taking on the Dolphins or the Jets, the Ravens taking on the Jaguars, and the Texans taking on the Chiefs. So my winners would be the Ravens. They would get that win because they are the low seed. They would go to Cincinnati. The Chargers would be the 5 seed. They would be going to Kansas City. And then the Texans getting a win over the Jaguars. No, actually, no. What did I say? Yeah, the Texans getting a win over the Jaguars. I mean, not the Jaguars. Texans getting a win over... Oh, no. I take that back. Texans would play the Chiefs. The Texans would lose to Kansas City in the first round. So let me scratch that. The Texans would lose to the Chiefs. Baltimore would beat Jacksonville. The Chargers would beat the Dolphins. So your matchup would consist of this. The Ravens taking on the Bengals. The Chargers going to Kansas City. That's where I say Mahomes would get 2 and done. Chargers. And then it would be Chargers-Ravens in an AFC Championship with the Ravens winning it. Next scenario we got is this one. Bengals is 1. Texans is 2. Chargers is 3. 4, the Dolphins or the Jets. 5, Kansas City. 6, Baltimore. And 7, Jacksonville. Now in these scenarios we have Chiefs taking on the Dolphins. The Ravens taking on the Chargers. And the Jaguars taking on the Texans. Texans get a win over Jacksonville. Chargers would get a win over Baltimore. That would be in LA. And then the Chiefs getting a win over the Dolphins. So this is what your next matchup would consist of. Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers, Texans. Chiefs getting a max. The Chiefs would lose to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's handled them good in the playoffs, except in the AFC Championship where a referee bailed out the Chiefs. So that would be the Bengals getting a win here. And then the Texans would beat the Chargers in Houston. AFC Championship could be Texans, Bengals in Cincinnati. But I see the Texans getting a win being more hungrier this time because there's a lot that people might sleep on them. And I see the Texans getting them going to their first Super Bowl. And in the final scenario we have is the Bengals as a 1, Chargers as a 2, Jags as a 3, 4, Dolphins or the Jets. 5th is either the Chiefs, is going to be the Chiefs. 6 will be Baltimore, and the last one will be Houston. So your matchup would consist of the Chiefs taking on the Dolphins or the Jets, the Ravens taking on the Jaguars, and the Texans taking on the Chargers. Now in this one, the Chiefs would beat Miami, the Ravens would beat Jacksonville, and the Texans would lose to the Chargers. Then your matchup would consist of the Ravens going to Cincinnati, and then the Chiefs having to play the Chargers in LA, which I see the Chargers winning that one, and I see the Ravens beating Cincinnati. Then you have the Ravens and Chargers in an AFC Championship. Harbaugh ball, Chargers get the win in this one. They go to it. Here are our matchups we have right here. About my prediction. So it would be either the Lions and the Texans, which I think Detroit would win a Super Bowl. The Lions and the Chargers, I would go Detroit on that one. Lions and the Ravens, I would go Baltimore. Your other ones could consist of Packers, Texans with the Packers. Packers against the Chargers, Packers. Packers, Ravens, I would go Baltimore. And then your last one would be the shock one right here. Cowboys, Texans with Dallas. Cowboys, Chargers, Dallas. Cowboys, Ravens, Baltimore. Those are your scenarios. So right now, this is going to be we're not going to have another show for a while. Once kickoff weekend begins, I will be back. That's when I'm going to start making picks and insights. So right here, we're going to be on a little bit of a 3-week break right now. So I will be back on kickoff weekend in September. I haven't given a lot of time to get to the other shows because Sunday I was going to do it Sunday, but I met Joe Hendry at David Buster in Philadelphia. I am an avid wrestling fan. I've met other superstars. Maybe in my spare time, I will upload the wrestlers who I have met over the years. It probably will go on it's going to go on both. I'll put them on both pages, the main and my backup channel too. That's another one. Monday, I didn't plan on going to Monday Night Raw in Baltimore. Very good show. Didn't plan on going, but it was a spur of the moment. It was the last minute. Tuesday was NXT. It was a good matchup. I'm not going to spoil it. If anybody did want to watch, I'll give you one spoiler. Wesley turned heel. And then last night watching AEW. Night, got it in today. But before I leave and bid adieu, it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for kickoff. I'm Dave Walker, and we'll see you on the field. Goodbye, everybody. See you in September.